friends, to another edition of Kaotic Motorsports, the fastest show on the internet. If it has a motor and goes fast, you know we're going to cover it. We'll talk about it tonight and every Tuesday night. It's Kaotic Motorsports, presented by Burris Racing at Huntington Beach. I'd like to thank Burris for coming on and joining us as a major sponsor this year in 2017. KaoticRadio.com, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. My name is Chappie, of course, your host. Tonight, J.R. Ibarra will be cruising in. He might be stuck in traffic out there on the 10 freeway. Also, at a Kart Racer TV, helping out, Lauren Quinn will be calling in tonight. He's at a Beyond the Track, and he is from the Traxxas Monster Truck Destruction Tour. Special guest tonight, Tyler Mcquarrie, multi-purpose driver, talking about his racing career. That guy, I tell you, will drive just about anything. Tyler Mcquarrie. Met him out there at Chico, California, and he'll be our call-in guest a little bit later on tonight. So let's get right to it. Last weekend, a busy weekend, Supercross Championship decided in Sin City up in Vegas at Sam Boyd Stadium. I know we had a lot of Tomac fans wanting to get the big victory tonight, but Tomac would be denied as the now four-time champion Ryan Dungey. Good enough to finish fourth. That was good enough to pull it off. Jason Anderson pulled off the win. Tomac tried to pull some trickery there at the end, doing what he could, and Anderson ended up going by. I didn't get a chance to see the race, but Tomac, what a year. He's definitely going to be a future champ. Congratulations to Ryan Dungey, now the four-time champ, as we talked about in the big 450 class. Josh Grant bringing a third-place finish home up there in Vegas. Anybody that was up there, I'm sure, saw some great racing up there at Sam Boyd Stadium. So Dungey grabs the points championship. They did what they needed to do, a 5-point victory over Tomac in one of the few sports that doesn't have a chase format anymore. You know, NASCAR started it in the chase format, and Supercross still battling it down with race-to-race format, and then the points championship decided by the end. So Dungey deserves it. Tomac 354, as we said, just 5 points back. Musquin had a great season as well. Didn't have a good finish up there in Vegas, but good enough for third. And there's another future champion I would have to talk about in the future here on Kaotic Motorsports. 250s. Let's talk a little 250 action. The up-and-comers, Adam Cianciarulo out of Florida, Justin Hill and Aaron Plessinger. Congratulations on your big finishes. Zach Osborne and Cianciarulo and Savachi. The points battle was close for the East, 173 for Osborne, Cianciarulo 171, and Osborne getting it done. In the West, Justin Hill had a great season, Shane McElrath and Martin DeRoy. So a great season out there in the Supercross action as the punk rockers still coming into the studio. They might have been forgetting some stuff. They got the Fireball, though. Those guys always have a good time on the punk rock show. So there we go. There we go. The Fireball guys coming in. They love the motorsports. So anyways, NHRA National Hot Rod Association here on KaoticRadio.com, Kaotic Motorsports. Make sure you listen to all the shows. And I thought we partied on Kaotic Motorsports, but the punk rock shows, they party. So, Mike, where you been? I felt like I haven't seen you in like a month. You listening in? What's up, buddy?
I know. Where you been?
We got JR on the warpath. He'll be making his way in. A lot of motorsports going on. I know you were down there at the beach doing something with, what was that, beach volleyball or a concert?
It was a concert. I was doing the setting up for the concert.
All right. Well, we got to get you some more motorsports activity. I can get you plenty of work out there at the local races. Tri-C Carters are going to be out this weekend in Fontana. I like to call it Fontucky. And they'll be out there this weekend as well. J.R. Ibarra making his way in. He'll be on Mike 4, and we'll get him on the show as well. I know he wants to talk about NASCAR and F1 as well. So just getting the night started. The punk rockers as well, taking over the studio. You know, when you own the studio, though, you can take up the Kaotic Motorsports Show time. So And again, my name's Chappie, and we'd like to welcome J.R. Ibarra. Of course, you guys have heard the Axe, Willie Axton. He is not able to be on the show tonight. Of course, you heard him come charging in at the beginning of the season. And he now has volleyball playoffs for Newport Harbor. So we're all wishing him a good luck in round number 1 tonight. Newport Harbor, I believe, plays Dana Hills. I think I got that right, if I got it off Facebook. J.R. Ibarra, I want to welcome
Chappie,
him. I think he's ready.
That good old-fashioned Southern California traffic just gets you every time.
I tell you what, don't complain too much, SoCal, because I've been all over, as you know, with the monster trucks, with Traxxas, and there's traffic everywhere, my friend.
It is unbelievable. I mean, just when you think everything's going to be okay, you hop on the freeway. It's just kind of crazy.
We just appreciate you coming back in. I don't think the punk rockers are not done.
Okay, I guess not. They wanted to continue on with the show.
Well, they're motorsports fans, those punk rockers, and he can't get enough. I've asked them for a lock on that door, JR, for 3 years. But Dutchie and the boys having a good time there. If you get a chance, listen to all the great shows we have to offer. But if you're a motorsports fan, listen to us, JR and Chappie in the house tonight. Already got the show started a little bit. We got Tyler Mcquarrie on tonight. And this guy apparently drives everything. I met him at Monster Trucks. He's a Formula Drift driver, off-road, and he's one of those guys. And I guess you almost have to be one of those drivers nowadays to really further your career, and that's just about drive anything.
You know, I think of somebody like Scott Speed. You know, Scott Speed has been a 2-time champion with the Global World Rallycross, and here's a guy who's been in Formula One. He's been in NASCAR. He's been in other type of disciplines over the years of his career. So it's not surprising. As you said, Chappie, I think we're seeing a lot more of that in the motorsports world where guys and gals have to be versatile to drive just about anything in any type of situation.
I think it's a lot kind of the attitude I took with announcing, and we had Ralph Shaheen, of course, a great announcer, and I didn't even have any clue he announced so many things that he does and is behind so many scenes, whether it comes to announcing or production of motorsports. And Ralph said, you know what, to stay sharp, you know what I do? I asked him for advice. He went and did a beauty pageant. Well, he knows nothing
just
about
how
a beauty
different is
pageant.
that, you know?
Well, to stay sharp. And so that's kind of what I do at these monster trucks, and it's a challenge every time. You know, 15 years in karting, sure, you get to know the drivers. That makes it easy.
Absolutely.
It makes it good. But to stay sharp, I think it's good to broaden the horizons right there. So we talked a little Supercross to get the show started as I was waiting for you, sitting out there on the 10 freeway in good old SoCal. And, wow, Ryan Dungey, a 4-time champ. I know a lot of people in SoCal thought Tomac was going to win, but pretty cool that Supercross Championship came down to the final race, and they don't even have a chase format.
You know, that's amazing, you know, because I had a chance to watch it over the weekend, and watching both the 450 and the 250 class came down to the main event on the last lap for both of those championships to be decided. And I think you can't ask for a better scenario for any type of motorsports type of division. The fact that a championship has to come down to a last lap pass to kind of determine who your champion is. And I tell you what, the Supercross season was pretty tremendous this year.
And I think that's cool. And I know Fox Sports 1 and Monster coming on board, so many sponsorships that they're putting into and all the forms of motorsports with NASCAR and Supercross. And they needed that because I know people were watching because, let's face it, in SoCal, I think after Anaheim and that initial, you know, Super Bowl or Winter Nationals type feel, you know, Daytona, like first race of the year. After that, Supercross goes to the Midwest and back east, and I think the SoCal fans have so much to do and so much to watch, they kind of lose sight of it. But the true fans and even the ones that got on board, I think they were watching that all season long. And a well-deserved 4th championship for Dungey.
Yeah, but I'm not a big Supercross follower, and I'll confess that publicly here. And I do find it interesting just how really aggressive the sport is. I mean, both of the main events really came down to some aggressive passing, maybe even controversial passing in the 250 division that decided that championship.
Well, you've seen a lot in karting, and that's
it happens a lot.
You've been around. Most of your life is open wheel and left and right hand turn. I know what you're familiar with. You're a fan of racing is racing, but you're also about clean racing, I would assume. You're old school like me.
Yeah.
It's good to pass a guy, but you got to pass him clean.
When
What good is that going to bed that night when you know you took him out?
Yeah, but again, I also, though, on the flip side of that, I totally agree with you on that standpoint. You do want to make a clean pass. You do want to make it something that you can be proud of. But when you're going for a championship and it's the last lap, you're in the main event, man, I mean, a lot of your drive really just goes into hyperspace at that
rules
point.
change.
Yeah, they really does.
There's sponsors, there's fans,
Exactly.
there's family, there's people you got to make happy. It's a different deal.
Absolutely, man. When you got to make it happen, especially for a championship, you just got to get her done no matter what.
What a good segue to move right into Talladega. We kept waiting for the big one. Now, I did get a chance to sit and watch Talladega, and I sat and watched Talladega. It was boring. I don't think the racers overall like Talladega. The fans, of course, it's the greatest super speedway. The 33-degree bank turns. I love what they did with Michael Waltrip, showing you just those bank turns. Now we got wild collies coming into the studio.
All right, we got our furry friends.
The punk rockers never leave. We got them a party lounge, but they keep coming into our show.
I guess they're expanding.
The lovely cat.
They're expanding the party lounge on us.
Yeah, the lovely cat. She's a motorsports fan, and the collie is going crazy. I've never seen the studio this crazy, and we've gotten nuts out here on this show. So they're getting them fired up out there tonight. We must have some punk rock. Were you ever into the punk rock scene?
Yeah, no, not quite. I'm kind of a country.
You heard about it.
Kind of a country western clown. But anyway, getting back to NASCAR and the Talladega, I actually thought both races, the Xfinity and the Monster Energy Cup Series, were actually pretty decent to watch. And again, I got to go back to the aspect of segment racing. I know people still have not been totally crazy about it.
And a hot topic this year, so continue. Hey, we got a quick call coming in. Let's talk some segments. Let's see who we got right
Who we got on the
here.
line?
On the line? Who do we got? Welcome to Kaotic Motorsports on KaoticRadio.com.
Hey, how's it going, Chappie? I feel honored to be on your show and to be introduced to all your listeners, man. It's a pretty sweet stage up there.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we got Lauren Quinn and JR. You'll appreciate this. This guy is kind of the kart racer TV of monster trucks. That's his passion. That's his passion. That's how I met this guy. And he does all the studio work, all the updates, all the videos. And he's pretty much a kart racer TV. You'd be familiar with that. But he's beyond the track. And you can catch his show just about every Wednesday on Facebook. Lauren, how you doing, man? Thanks for calling the show.
I'm doing pretty good, man. We're just taking a break from all the action this week. And we're going to be back to, I think we're going to Canton, Ohio next.
That's awesome. I know you got a busy schedule. Tell JR what you do throughout the year with the Traxxas Monster Truck Destruction Tour.
Well, if I'm not here editing videos and making web shows, I'm flying out to shows and hanging out with all the awesome fans that we have out there, and you know, hanging out with all the drivers and doing interviews, getting behind the scenes, and giving the fans something new that I haven't really seen from other promoters out there. You know, when I was a kid coming home from school, you know, I wish I would be able to go and you know, feed my addiction to monster trucks and go somewhere where I can have, you know, daily updates on all the new action that's happening in the monster truck world. I never saw that. So when I kind of, you know, grew up with my dad, you know, being a television producer, I had all the, you know, shiny bells and whistles to play around with. I thought, what if I can make a web show where, you know, fans can be, it could be a whole fan interactive experience, where it's not just a fan watching updates, but they can interact and, you know, kind of play around with contests, do lots of drawings, ticket giveaways, T-shirt giveaways, and all that fun stuff. So it's just something I've really had a passion for, is giving the whole monster truck industry a new look at how, you know, the fans can be engaged in our industry.
Hey, Lauren, I think that's really cool. And what's great about where we're at in technology and in terms of video production and video delivery now, with the internet being such a strong point of content delivery, I think it's cool that we're seeing more and more different aspects of motorsports wind up online, and there's a big following online. I think of a series like The World of Outlaws. They don't have a really big television package right now. They do have occasional TV shows on CBS Sports, but they're pretty much online completely in televising or in sending things online with their shows, and sounding like you're doing the same thing with the monster trucks, which I think is great.
Absolutely. And haven't you seen how everything's just moving away from television and going
You
to
don't
the
need it
internet?
anymore. What's nice is, I mean, back in the
Yeah.
day, I used to have to literally beg for airtime, on Fox Sports West and others on different series that I produced in my past. And man, it not only do you beg, but you also have to bring out the checkbook too, because a lot of those places said, "Hey, you want to get airtime, you got to pay for it, buddy." Well, now you can bypass
Right.
those guys. Now you don't need them anymore. Yeah, it's great that they have a big presence and a big marketing, avenue to who they are and their name. But you know what? It's not needed anymore. And I appreciate guys like yourself who are out there really pounding the pavement, working hard, and getting motorsports out there, especially when you have real niche motorsports avenues such as monster trucks.
Right. And you have so much more of a selection out there on the internet. You don't have to be harassed with all those cable companies that really try to sell all those
Right.
stations to you for so much. And absolutely. And I love what you guys are doing too with the radio show. It's pretty sweet, man.
Well, we try to be update, everybody and the fans, and getting guys like you on the interviews are a big plus of the show. Nowadays, as JR was just talking about, social media. You can go on and you can Google the results of anything. We'll give you the results, but most of our guys that are affiliated with the show were probably at that event. JR has connections to different tracks as well as I do, as well as you, Lauren, and those are the guys we want affiliated with Kaotic Motorsports because we can give those fans listening to the 1 hour show. It's only a 1 hour show. Sure, we're going to give you the results and the points update, but we won't spend that much time on that. We're going to give you the inside scoop.
Yeah, it's awesome that, I get a lot of racing
That's what
news.
they want.
I get a lot of racing news from Facebook, because you can get it pretty immediate. I love paying attention because I'm a big sprint car guy, and I love paying attention to sprint car news back in the Midwest and back in Pennsylvania. I can get it pretty immediate on a Saturday night. I just go to Facebook and I can see results, and I can see video too, which is pretty cool. So the fact that somebody like yourself as a producer is out there doing that type of thing for monster trucks. Like I say, I just love hearing that type of stuff happen with motorsports.
Thanks, man. And it's only getting stronger. It's building. And, as I continue on to the show, I feel like every episode I do, I'm able to create a new idea, something that channels further into the whole interactive experience. So I feel like the longer I'm doing this for, the bigger it's going to get, the larger the fan base is going to be. And, the sky's the limit.
And what's great too about being online is you don't have the time constraints that you do on television. You're constrained to 22 minutes or 28 minutes for a 30-minute show. When you're online and you're live, or even if you're doing it to tape or to record rather, you can make it 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 hours, however long or however short you want the content to be, and people are going to watch and view it.
Right. And as soon as Tony Matarazzo got me on this awesome team, he says, we want a web show that, lasts, we don't need any more than maybe 3 minutes. Well, when they flew me to my first show in Michigan, I got so much footage, I ended up spending over 40 hours in the editing booth, and I came out with a 10-minute show.
Yeah, man.
But it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
JR knows all about that.
Oh, absolutely. Spend plenty of hours in front of a computer.
I know what it's like being on the editing table because usually I get told I'm going to be on a show and then I'm never on the show, and then I learn about the editing table. So, hey, Lauren, we are up against it. We're at the bottom of the hour, and we got your buddy Tyler Mcquarrie coming up next. So I know you're going to keep listening, and this will be podcast, and it's on YouTube. And tell everybody who you want to thank, who you're all about. It's Beyond the Track with Lauren Quinn, and anybody you want to thank about your career and where we're going to see you in the future, my man.
Well, first of all, I always have to thank the fans. We all have to thank the fans, especially
Absolutely.
the kids.
Yeah.
We especially do it for the kids, and the parents just love engaging with their kids at these events. That's why I do it. That's really where it touches my heart, and that's why I do what I do. I have to thank Danny Torgerson, Tony Matarazzo, Jennifer Davis, Russ Stewart, Miles Parker, Del Pittman, you, of course, Chappie, and the list goes on. And these are just such remarkable people and coworkers that I'm just thrilled to be with them. When I'm able to go to shows, it's just it's a pretty sweet deal because, I just get to live the event at every angle as a fan, from a bulldozer, from the track, and everywhere. And I love sharing that experience with the fans. And you can go on Facebook, check out the Traxxas Monster Truck Destruction Tour. Be sure to share our page. Be sure to like it. And, follow me.
Hey, thanks a lot. Lauren Quinn, everybody, Beyond the Track. And if you're a Monster Truck fan or an anything race fan, make sure you check out Lauren in the future. JR Ibarra and Chappie in the house tonight in studio here at the super top secret studios, the penthouse that is known as KaoticRadio.com. This is Kaotic Motorsports Show. Oh, I hear the going away music, so it must be time to pay the bills, JR. Why don't you take us out?
We'll be right back with Kaotic Motorsports right after these words.
Man, I don't care where I'm going.
that song and less of my voice.
Oh, I apologize.
I mean, come on. That's Motley Crue. Kickstart my heart, brother.
Still going. You can hear
All right, this is chaoticradio.com. Just leave me a little something in the background. Hey, real quick, I know before we got our call in, Lauren Quinn, thanks for calling in, man. Beyond the
Yeah,
track.
great to talk to Lauren.
We got listeners from all over. He's based out of Phoenix, Arizona. NHRA, real quick before we get back into NASCAR, as we wait on Tyler Mcquarrie, our special guest tonight. They're out in Atlanta for the Southern Nationals. Steve Torrence finally takes down Don Schumacher Racing in Top Fuel, grabs the win. Congratulations to
Really,
Torrance
two
Racing.
consecutive when you think about it, because he had the 4 wide nationals the week before.
And a good point there. And Schumacher Racing still got it on with Ron Capps. I believe that's 3 in a row. And the Napa
correct.
know-how is on fire this year. Bo Butner, Pro Stock, just when you thought Lyon and Anderson, those Summit blue and red cars, were going to dominate, here comes a bunch of guys in Pro Stock. And Pro Stock could be very competitive. Ellie Tonglet grabbing the win in Pro Stock Bike. That's a slight upset. And Pritchett from Redlands continues to still lead in Top Fuel. Capps is your leader in points. Greg Anderson will take over the points lead for Pro Stock, and Eddie Krawick for Pro Stock Bike. Southern Nationals. Also a little chaotic karma. The Boise Igniter IHRA. Jason Rupert, 6-time world champion. And also the Chaotic Karma. He's been on the show twice, and he runs the Nostalgia 68 Camaro. And congratulations to Jason Rupert, and get well soon to his dad, Frank Rupert, a funny car racing legend.
Names that we've heard a lot here in Southern California, for those of you who would follow drag racing all these past decades through the 70s, 80s, such. Those are very familiar names that you're talking about here, chap.
And you and I, we have our favorites, but we're motor racing fans. I mean, I might have more knowledge on NHRA, but a guy like you or Willie Axton, a young lad who's also one of our guest speakers here, really gets. It's what you get into, and you're more into open wheel. You come from the karting. I love karting, but boy, that NHRA. But I really love all forms of motorsports. And
Same
love doing
here.
the show.
I'll watch anything. I mean, this past weekend I was watching all of NASCAR. I was watching Supercross, a little bit of IMSA racing too, road racing as well. So there's always a lot of stuff to view on the weekends. In fact, it's kind of funny, being involved in TV production. I really don't watch a lot of TV Monday through Friday. I really don't. But when it comes to the weekends, I will sit for hours and watch motorsports all day long. Yeah,
I mean, and I'm totally the same. We have that in common for sure, as well to probably most of our listeners, I would like to think, here on Kaotic Motorsports. It's chaoticradio.com. We're on every Tuesday, 6 to 7. 909-360-8330. J.R. Ibarra taking time out of his busy schedule. We actually have real lives. Well, some of us do. I don't. This is my life. NASCAR, getting back to NASCAR, I know you're on a hot point. Great finish, Talladega. I loved real quick the beginning. They had Mikey Waltrip show you what it's like being on the bottom of that 33-degree banking. And then they walked to the top. He was so out of breath.
Yeah.
And he's in pretty good shape. He still plays basketball with Hamlin and the boys.
You don't realize how steep it is till you're actually on it.
Exactly. I think that really gave you a good idea. And just like most forms of motorsports, you're not getting the same deal as you're getting on TV as you could do out there real time.
TV doesn't do it justice. I remember one time being back in Rockingham, North Carolina, to the old Rockingham Speedway.
The Rock.
And it was 24 degrees banking, and it was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how steep this is. And I actually had a chance to drive it at that time, and it was a really cool experience.
Who were you going to think was going to win that NASCAR race at the end? I thought Kyle had it. I know Ricky's been coming on strong, but I thought Kyle finally had one, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been watching Danica's other half, watch him, because he's been coming on strong lately.
Roush Fenway has really kind of turned things around this season, and you're seeing the results beginning to happen now. Both Roush Fenway drivers with Stenhouse, as well as, he slips my mind now, Trevor Bain, the secondary driver, both are within striking distance of being within the chase now that Ricky has essentially won a race that locks him into the playoffs. So I think Roush Fenway has finally turned a long corner, because, man, unfortunately for years, they've been really sitting back on the sidelines and just looking at the rest of the pack in front of them.
Yeah, I think it should be interesting. And he's a class act interview. And imagine the guys over at Fox Sports 1. They interview a lot of guys, maybe 10 to 12 guys, as they lead up to the race, that pregame show. And you hope to get that interview with the guy that's going to get his first win.
Yeah.
And they got it with Stenhouse. And he, like we said, he's been coming on strong. Of course, he's the other half of Danica. We kid around a lot with Danica here. And all these drivers, on a serious matter, all these drivers are awesome and they have talent. But we might have a little fun and kid around with certain drivers. But Ricky Stenhouse, great job. Or as we're now going to call him, Ricky Patrick Jr. That's a new nickname over here. Do you think he was in the doghouse that night, or did he get to come home and sleep, or you don't want to touch that?
I don't even want to go that direction.
It's .com
But
radio.
I've always
Give me your opinion.
wondered though the scenario between he and Danica in terms of.
I mean, come on. The next morning at coffee, and he gets the win before she does. I mean, that cannot be comfortable. Awkward.
There's got to be some sort of very interesting conversations that happen Sunday night, Monday morning between those two. And I've always been curious to find out what exactly is the dynamic between that couple.
Yes, interesting. As we await the phone call from our special guest, we have Tyler Mcquarrie due in to call, and we are waiting. We're watching the computer screen anxiously, but don't worry, we got plenty to talk about if Tyler's hung up.
Definitely.
I mean, Tyler drives so many race cars and trucks. I don't know. He might not have time to call in tonight. I told him whenever it's good for you, bro, just pull over the side of the road.
He's probably out karting or something like that.
Yeah, take a pit stop. He got his start. He was 14 years old. He's one of the Northern California karters. Danville, California would be up north, I believe.
Okay.
I met him up there at Chico, but the Northern California kart racers, as you and I know, we've announced a lot of LAKC over the years on your Kart Racer TV Live, and we actually set it up with that NoCal, SoCal showdown.
Yeah.
And there's some great showdowns, some great racers from up north.
Well, consider the names who are big names now. Like I said, Scott Speed, AJ Allmendinger. These are guys who started karting up in Northern California and made their way through the ranks, and now they're really essentially in the big leagues now. And these guys got to cut their teeth on the local kart tracks in Northern California. And now look at it. And even when you take a look at somebody like Kyle Larson, again, another Northern California kid. Rico Abreu, who's coming through the ranks in sprint cars and midgets and is trying to get into NASCAR. Unfortunately, maybe kind of took a step back from that for this season. But nonetheless, Northern California has produced some great names. If you want to include the great Jeff Gordon, too, originally from Northern California.
Well, that's right. And another good segue, JR, that shows you what a pro you are. But getting right in with the guy that's driven NASCAR West, Formula Drift, USAC Sprint, USF 2000, started his career, as we talked about, as a kart racer, drives for Safecraft Safety Equipment, Mobile One, you name it, Time Attack, even monster trucks. One of the best multi-purpose drivers around, and we're lucky to have him call the show out of Walnut Creek, California, originally. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Mcquarrie. What's up, man?
Yo, Tyler.
Tyler, you on the line?
Show.
There you go.
Dude, Tyler, I cut you off there for real quick. Hey, man, thanks for calling in on your busy schedule. You're here with me and JR Ibarra, Kart Racer TV. Tyler, I had no clue after I met you up in Chico. I knew you were an accomplished driver, but you've just about driven anything. I mean, what have you not driven? A drag boat?
Yes, seriously. It's, I look back at my career and all this stuff, and it's just so how I've been. Anything with four wheels, I love the challenge as a driver. They're all so different, but, you just get in there and it's your job as a driver to manipulate that machine to do what you're supposed to be doing. And every discipline is totally different. The objective is totally different. But, I haven't done a lot of drag racing, so that's one. But yeah, offshore boats, anything with four wheels, I'm down to do.
Well, it was pretty cool. Like I said, I was telling JR just to fill him in. He's a big kart racer TV, JR Ibarra, and you actually started your career. But at 14 years old, that's kind of old to start your career as a kart racer. Did you play all the regular sports and then get involved in karting? I want to know about that.
Like as a kid, I just loved racing. We always went to races with my parents and stuff, but my parents just couldn't afford, so I would say like when I was 8, I was really itching to get a kart, but they just couldn't afford it. So, it just didn't happen. I played soccer and baseball and just the typical stuff. And, I got my racing fix through BMX. I raced BMX all over California, and that was kind of my thing. So I was always kind of surprised I didn't go the motocross route. But, my passion was always, Indy. I watched Indy racing all the time, went to every race I could. And so that was always my goal as a kid, was to race IndyCar. And so the first chance I got to get a kart, we did it. And, the rest is kind of history. So,
Tyler, I know you kind of alluded to it just about a minute ago, but the several different type of cars you've driven in your career, I would think has probably been a huge benefit to you as a driver. Because as you were saying, you're so faced with a different scenario in any type of car or kart you might drive. You take in the fact of the different weight factors, the different size factors, different track configurations. I got to believe that's been a big benefit to your driving career.
For sure. It goes both ways. When you're racing something different every single weekend, I've always had the ability to kind of flip the switch and change whatever that objective is. But it definitely helps, when I, spent 14 years in Formula D drifting, and I'm going out and, the next weekend racing a Porsche in IMSA. And, and the racing's tight, and you get people, trying to spin people out. I remember at Laguna Seca a couple of years back, there was one driver that, literally tried to turn me coming out of a corner, and I just laughed. And I'm like, you got to try a lot harder than that to spin me, But I would say, and I tell a lot of the guys that I race against, whether it's Formula D or whatever, like, as a driver, you should be doing all kinds of stuff, racing other things. And, I think it makes you well-rounded, and there's scenarios that come up in no matter what racing you're doing, where you take another, knowledge that you've gained from drifting or, off-road racing or whatever, and you apply it to that discipline that you're doing. So
nothing like seat time.
Exactly. And the fact that I'm in something every weekend, it definitely helps. I get up to speed a lot faster than some guys, and I just think it's because I'm always driving. I'm always doing something.
Tyler, through karting, I got the gig with a legend in Southern California karting and beyond, the great Troy Adams and the Adams Motorsports Park
Nice.
in Riverside. And I've been the drift announcer for about 8 years out there. It used to be a popular show on Thursday nights. It's now switched to about every other Saturday night program, along with Time Attack, which you're a great driver at as well, and showing off your talents. The drifting thing, the first night I showed up, I wasn't sure about it. It was a new crowd, different music, but the drivers, I went and did ride-alongs with Samuel Hubinette and went in the Mopar Viper, and really incredible. And drifting really came on like gangbusters. One of the only motorsports that isn't decided by a time clock or a checkered flag, but obviously it's helped your career. It's very popular with the young crowd. It came over from Japan. Talk a little bit, elaborate on a little bit on drifting and your drift career.
Drifting, it's definitely interesting. And, like I said, I started off in karts, and, I went racing Formula cars in Europe in the late 90s, like 98, 99. And I came back and, was doing some sporadic stuff, and the drifting just started kind of coming up on some radar a little bit. And, I remember the first time I saw drifting, I was just like, what the hell are these guys doing? It just looked like a bunch of guys screwing around, in a parking lot. And, my tire sponsor at the time, Yokohama, they had an open seat in one of their teams, and, they asked if I wanted to come try it out. And my first drift event was literally my first drift event that I ever went to. I had no idea what was going on, and I qualified fourth.
That's cool.
And
I
finished
love that.
fourth. And it was the second Formula D event ever back in 2004.
Wow.
So it literally fell in my lap. And just like you go there, and the driving talent was super impressive. Obviously, 2004, it was pretty grassroots feel to it,
Right.
and so, but I can remember, I was looking for rides back then in American Le Mans and stuff like that. And drift teams, after they saw me drive a few times, were calling and asking how much I wanted to get paid. And I was just like, wait a second, I don't have to bring money.
What? There's a
And so that's-
paycheck involved?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I was
I
like,
don't
okay,
have to pay
sold.
to play?
Yeah. I was like, done deal. So that's really when I just focused on that. And then,
Nice.
my priority was drifting, and, I would get sporadic road races here and there, and I would basically do both, but my main focus was drifting, and it lasted that long, for 14 years, and it gave me the ability to start my own team and, we were running multiple cars, and and I never in a million years thought I would be able to have my own race team. But drifting gave me that, and it definitely
very cool.
It really helped, put my name out there in other areas. And so drifting, I owe a lot to drifting, but my passion is racing. You mentioned the judging. It's after 14 years, you're still not used to it, but it's just the way the sport is. And it's no different than an ump in baseball. I mean, I guess you would ask any baseball player, and, they're going to get pissed, daily. There's maybe weekly at umps, it's the nature of the beast.
So Tyler, if you can give us a quick list, what have you driven in the last few years, and what is a favorite of yours?
The last couple of years, like last year, I raced Stadium Super Trucks, Robbie Gordon's Stadium Super Truck Series.
That's a cool series.
Yeah.
The crowd loves that. We were talking about that in Chico.
That is
Stadium
a cool
Super
series.
Trucks are awesome.
I tell you what, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but go ahead.
No, it's like you go to these IndyCar races, and I love IndyCar to death, but sometimes it's not the most exciting racing, and you had sports cars, and then all of a sudden these trucks come out, and it's all at the street courses, and the fans just flock to the fences. And it's funny, you get these pictures up online that you see Stadium Super Trucks, and everyone has their phone up.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Yep.
And they're just like, this is crazy, and it totally is crazy racing, and Robbie does a good job promoting it, and it's full contact. It was super, super fun. And, was podium to my first race out there. Same thing. Didn't really know what was going on, what to expect. And, but that was pretty good. So we did Stadium Super Trucks, trophy trucks. We ran the trophy truck class down in the Baja 1000, Vegas to Reno, did a UTV race, did IMSA with CJ Wilson Racing in a Porsche, drifting on my team, raced ARCA for the first time.
Oh, very cool.
To Salem, Indiana. That was funny. I was racing Stadium Super Trucks in Long Beach, which is like wine and cheese, yachts, just money everywhere. Flew straight from there and went to Salem, Indiana, and it's like that is circle track racing at its finest.
And then we went to Chico.
Yeah, then we raced monster trucks well, the funny thing was so we raced the monster trucks, and then I raced Lamborghini in the Trans Am
Oh
series.
man, how diverse of a driving career can somebody get?
No difference there.
That
in those
is
two
cool.
vehicles.
I love hearing this, man.
But that was the funny thing. So the week before the monster trucks, I was racing, a $300,000 Lamborghini in the Trans Am series, and then we drive up to Chico, and same kind of thing. It's like Chico monster trucks, like. It's just the two go hand in hand, and the monster truck was pretty funny because I've never even sat in one. They gave me 3 minutes in this open field to go get used to the rear steer and stuff, and we didn't jump anything. And I get out, and the guy's like, "Wow, you really got it! Like you were on it, like in the video, like from the get go." I said, on the gas.
Yeah, it was good.
So
I was pumping it up. I'm on the mic. We're pumping it up. Here comes his first wheelie, and I'm gonna butt in right here and let you finish, but. He pulls one of the biggest wheelies of any of the trucks, and he's the new guy. I'll let you finish as to what happens on the landing.
Yeah, so I went over the first jump, and the conditions probably weren't the best for wheelies. It was super, super muddy, so it ended up kind of just being a jumping deal. But I went off the first jump, and I'm literally, and this is how I just work in the cockpit. I'm just analyzing how things are going, and I've watched tons of videos. It sounds crazy, but I watch a bunch of videos before I go do something and to kind of replicate that. And I feel it jump, and I'm like, okay, that's good. And so I'm like, next one, I'm like, brah, got on the gas even more, and it still felt good. And we come down, and I land, and the left rear goes flying off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And as soon as it came off, I knew our night was probably done. That's not good. So it goes rolling by me, and I get out. And the funny thing is, in that Trans Am race the week before, my left rear on the Lamborghini came off in practice and went rolling by me. And so I see the left rear pass me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Again? And I get out, and I'm like, well, my monster truck career lasted about 15 seconds, so that was cool. But I was a little bummed on that one because I wish we would have.
Hey, JR being a kart racer, and when we're not on the mic, we love to go racing karts, as you know. But Why don't you fill JR and our audience here at chaoticradio.com, Kaotic Motorsports. Chappie was getting a little mouthy, as I do. I'm an announcer.
Not you. Not you.
Never.
We're out there in Chico. I got the quick lap time all day until Tyler Mcquarrie showed up. But we had a great race, didn't we? It was fun.
It was super awesome. I mean, and it goes in line with the race everything. It's like how awesome. There's a kart track right there. So we go out there. And, you were saying you had that fast time, and I'm like, I gotta deflate the ego a little bit and just go knock it off a little bit. But super fun.
I saved the score paper and I'll frame it because you're a big and famous racer, and I can say, "Hey, Tyler Mcquarrie beat me. I only got second or third on the podium." But hey, man, tell us a little bit. Hit up on Safecraft safety equipment. I know they're huge, and I know the Traxxas Monster Truck Destruction Tour people want to hear about Safecraft, and tell us, elaborate on that after that about a little bit what's going on in the future of Tyler McQuarrie's career.
Yeah, Safecraft's been around for 25 years. They've been kind of the leader in some areas when it comes to fire suppression. And I've been involved with them for a couple of years, and it's growing so fast, the company, and that's where, I kind of came up with this race everything. Because, you look at, circle track and off-road and, road racing, and everywhere you go, you see Safecraft in a car. So I was like, hey, let's go promote the Safecraft in everything. Let's go race everything. And Pat O'Keefe, the owner of Safecraft, like, I love it. And I'm like, sweet, let's go do it. So, we started doing that, and, meanwhile, Safecraft is coming up with all kinds of new products, and, it's really innovating the industry and coming up with automatic systems. And, they use a clean agent called Novak, which typically, as a driver, every time I would get in a car, especially when I was younger, I was always told, like, make sure that this thing's on fire when you pull it. Because if it's not, this thing's going to make a nasty mess. It's going to ruin all the electronics. So for the longest time, I always got in cars just thinking, I'm not going to pull that thing unless I'm getting really, really hot. So, Safecraft has come up with some stuff where, they have automatic systems where the driver doesn't have to pull the pull cable, the traditional pull cable. And even, that system goes off. It doesn't damage electronics. It doesn't leave any residue because they use this clean agent. So they're coming up with a lot of cool stuff that is important for motorsports. And ever since I got involved with them over the last couple of years, it's really opened my eyes to how important and how much people neglect, fire suppression.
Absolutely.
Even when it comes to series, and I think it's our responsibility to go out there and kind of educate people on how important it is, because it's one of those deals. It's so easy to overlook it. People, you go around, and whether it's a dirt late model or whatever around the country, and people spend tons of money on motors, and they go short on safety equipment, even helmets and suits and things like that. And I've learned through all my years that you really got to plan for the worst, because it can happen to you, and odds are it won't, but you got to be ready for that.
I think that's great.
And
That's such a great mentality, Tyler, and I totally agree with you. It's unfortunate a lot of times you see at short tracks the lack of equipment there for fire suppression, and it's downright scary. I mean, we have seen
totally,
several different incidents across these smaller tracks, unfortunately, where they think they're saving people money, and they're really not. They're really putting people in jeopardy, and it's really sad to see that.
And at the end of the day, I've kind of learned, over the last couple of years that, it needs to be down to the sanctioning bodies and the tracks to really mandate this kind of stuff, because it's kind of like, I go back to, remember when the Hans came out, it's like, I can remember when you first started having to wear Hans and everyone was just kicking and screaming, and now it's just the standard. It's like, you wouldn't go racing without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's, fire suppression when it comes to road racing, and like NASCAR, it's been the norm for so long, but you go to whether it's sprint cars or these dirt track stuff, it hasn't. And, I think it just needs to be the standard and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
We totally agree. Safecraft safety equipment. Tyler Mcquarrie, can we get your pick? We always get our guest picks. Who's going to win Indy 500? Will it be Alonso or somebody else?
I've known J.R. Hildebrand. I coached him when he was 14, just starting out in karts, and he ran a Camaro on my drift team a few years ago in Formula D. And I remember when he got second that one year, I was just almost crying for him.
Right.
So I'm hoping he's the man. J.R. Hildebrand for sure.
Indy owes him one.
We'll put you down for Hildebrand. Hey, Tyler Mcquarrie, thank you very much, and we will look for you in the future. Please feel free to call our show in the future. You now have the chaotic karma that'll guarantee a podium.
Awesome.
Not that you need it, but been nice meeting you. And JR, you got anything to say to Tyler?
No, we wish you all the best, Tyler. I love somebody like yourself who has all these disciplines of different race cars. You've driven different racing series. I love racers like that. You are a true racer. We appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. We'll talk to you soon. And just like Tyler Mcquarrie, this is JR Ibarra and Chappie, and we can't drive 55 at Kaotic Motorsports. See you next Tuesday.
See you around.